This week, the Supreme Court appeared likely to uphold a federal ban on guns for Americans subject to domestic violence restraining orders. Gun rights advocates had challenged the law, claiming it violated the Second Amendment. But will the justices decide that all restrictions on firearms for dangerous people, especially abusive intimate partners, can stand? In our Prime Focus tonight, our Devin Dwyer takes a closer look at the case and what's at stake.
I have 3 in my head. I have 1 in my right side and 1 in my left side.
Lachey Crachan still carries all 5 bullets from the day her ex-boyfriend shot her. She's given each of them a name.
Faith, fight, forget, forgive, and my family.
Why did you name them?
Because I have to carry them the remaining days of my life. And they were a part of me.
It was October 1996. Lachey was a high school senior in Opelousas, Louisiana, working at McDonald's and mothering 2 young children when her relationship with the father of her daughter started to become violent.
And did you know whether he had any guns at the time?
I'd witnessed him pull a gun up to a guy's head before.
Did you fear for your life?
Yes, I feared for my life because he told me he would kill me. He said I couldn't be with anybody else but him. And he showed it by hitting me.
Afraid and confused, Lachey went to the police, who told her there was little they could do. 2 months later, he confronted Lachey in front of her family and his own mother.
And at first I said, I love you. And you can have the kids whatever you want, but I can't be with you. And I walked away, and that's when he shot me behind my head and in each hip. And I fell right next to my daughter. And my great aunt. She was just like, oh my God, he killed himself, and she was at the door.
They didn't think you were gonna make it.
Yeah, I was just bleeding so much, I could feel the blood.
Lachey's daughter, Shayla, who was 4 months old at the time, has no memory of that day, but now knows she was the reason her mom fought to survive.
I know how strong she is. I see how strong she is. She has to go through it with the pain, the trauma, the everything, you know? So it's been hard for me, but I feel like it cannot be any harder for me than it is for her.
Do you think if he had been subjected to a domestic violence restraining order that maybe he wouldn't have been able to get that gun?
Yes, I do. I do.
Every year, judges nationwide issue thousands of domestic violence restraining orders to limit contact between an aggressor and a victim. And since a 1994 federal law, those orders have also been a basis to deny someone access to a gun through the background check system.
Some states go far beyond this by ensuring compliance, not just that they're prohibited from purchasing a new one, but that they're actually giving up the firearms that are already in their possession.
Congress enacted the ban on guns for people under restraining orders to help prevent cases like Lachey's. Over 12 million American adults are victims of domestic abuse every year, and researchers say when a gun is involved, it's 5 times more likely someone will die. The FBI says the law has blocked more than 77,000 attempted firearm purchases by people under domestic violence restraining orders.
We know that it's not just intimate partners murdering their partners. We know that they're doing it with firearms and that these laws are preventing them from doing that.
But now those laws hang in the balance before the U.S. Supreme Court, where gun rights advocates, backed by a lower court decision, say they must be struck down for violating the Second Amendment.
This statute actually ends up disarming a bunch of law-abiding or otherwise good people that you might not expect when you first look at it.
Aiden Johnston is with Gun Owners of America.
Judges often issue mutual restraining orders, which disarms both the victim and the abuser at the same time. And then also these are abused by divorce attorneys as a way to get a one-up or a tactical advantage in a divorce proceeding.
The high court case involves Zaki Rahimi, a drug dealer in Texas who is now behind bars for assaulting his girlfriend and threatening her and another woman with a gun. Rahimi is challenging a charge of illegal gun possession in violation of a domestic violence restraining order, saying it's unconstitutional and should be dismissed.
No one is arguing that he should be released from jail, and it has no bearing on what the Supreme Court is taking up. They are ruling on that very narrow question of whether a civil protective order can take away your constitutional rights.
In a landmark decision last year, the Supreme Court expanded an individual's right to carry a gun outside the home, saying it can only be limited by public safety laws that have historical ties to the nation's founding.
In 1791, there weren't very many cases of people using firearms against a spouse or a girlfriend.
It's an absolutely modern problem. They should clarify how closely analogous these historical laws need to be.
We believe that a Second Amendment empowers a woman to fight back against a violent abuser and to hold her own.
Gun rights groups say women like Erin Hart, a single mother of 2 we met in 2020 as she bought her first handgun, can't depend on federal regulations to stay safe.
My nightmare scenario would be being at home, alone, middle of the night, and it's just myself, and the boys, and someone, coming in to harm us.
But gun safety advocates say the law prohibiting guns for people involved with domestic violence is rooted in common sense and working as intended.
You suck in? There you go.
Shayla encouraged her mother to publicly share her story to help raise awareness.
I would like to introduce Lachey.
And for Lachey, who now volunteers with the Moms Demand Action Network, it's been another step toward healing.
We can end gun violence, and we can do it together.
Lachey says the pain from her bullet wounds still requires regular surgeries 27 years later. But she's made peace with her late ex-boyfriend, even encouraging Shayla to love him.
I made sure to forgive him for his actions because he gave me so much joy, and that's my kids. To see your brother.
Both women remain hopeful the Supreme Court won't roll back a 30-year-old law aimed at protecting them.
I'll never have my father. I wish he never had the gun. I wish there was something that prevented it. Right now, we can stop it so that nobody else, no other families, no other kids have to go through what we've went through.
So many living with fears and fallout. Our thanks to Devin for that. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic or intimate partner abuse, there is help. Please reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.